Seeing that it's almost a little after 7 o'clock, I'll open up the meeting of the Halifax Zoning Board of Appeals for March 9th, 2020. In attendance is Kasaya Nazrella, Bob Durgan, Dan, you writing all this down? And myself. We're all here, except for Jerry and Peter. All right, let's go to our minutes of our meeting. Let's see, well, see, that's 7:05. 7:05, petition number 918, James Rodriguez, 9 Lake Street, special permit and variance for restoration and expansion of a structure. Mr. Rodriguez here?
Yes, sir.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, yourself.
All right, let me just read this off. Petition number 918. The Halifax Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on Monday, March 9th, 2020 at 7:05 in meeting number 1 of the Halifax Town Hall, 499 Plymouth Street, Halifax, Mass. On the application by James Rodriguez for a special permit and/or variances to restore and expand a damaged structure located at 9 Lake Street, Halifax, Mass. Said property is owned by James Rodriguez, shown on Assessors Map 20, lots 1532, 1533, title reference book 47522, page 91. The applicant is seeking a special permit and/or variances for the restoration and expansion of a damaged structure caused by broken water pipes, snow load, storm damage, and mold. This project would constitute a continuation, alteration, and extension of a non-conforming use according to the zoning bylaws of the town of Halifax, section 167-8A, B, and C, requiring a special permit and/or variance from the Zoning Board of Appeals. Also, based on the application, the project does not meet the requirements of 167-8D restoration or 167-8G exemption, according to the zoning bylaws of the town of Halifax. Area is zoned residential, petition number 918. Hi, Mr. Rodriguez, how are you?
I'm good, and yourself, sir?
Good, thank you. Want to give us a little idea
Sure.
what we're doing here?
I wrote a little memorandum just so you'd have some information on it. Include it in the record. You can follow along. Is that 3 copies? Is it 4? I also brought some pictures so you can see what we're talking about here.
Okay, what are we doing?
This is for the, it's a long story, so I'll give you a snippet. I applied for a building permit to tear down my little cottage and rebuild it due to the damage from the broken water pipe that I had back in 2015 during the snow emergency. Back then, the governor declared a state of emergency. The pipes broke. I had a big snow load on the roof. Some of the roof sheathing cracked, or at least the roof dipped. I didn't know the sheathing cracked at the time. So I took out a building permit to remove the drywall and remove the water damaged material from 162,000 gallons went through the house. So when I pulled off, this is the way it looked prior to removing the drywall. So it looks fairly innocuous on the superficially, but when you start pulling down, once I got the drywall down, the intent was to get the drywall down and then do an inspection to see what I had structurally to repair. All of that was done. The building inspector came down and took a look and wasn't too happy with it, but I had, like I said, I had taken out a permit to actually do the drywall removal and remove the damaged material. At that point, he asked me to get a a report from a structural engineer to get some data on the structural integrity of the structure. And told me to stop work, effectively. Told me I should stop work. Did not give me any kind of a stop work order. But
In the back.
You got it all signed?
What's today's date?
We're really meeting all the requirements lately, huh? Signing
Oh,
minutes,
respectfully submitted.
changing the law.
I'll sign here too. I don't give a crap. What's today's date?
The
Ninth?
No.
Not sure what day it is.
I hired a consultant to go through the machination of building permit applications and try to understand some of the bylaws of what Halifax allows and doesn't allow in a non-conforming structure. As a result of that, I got a report back from the engineering company that's part of the original submission, as well as the plans and the proposed construction drawings for the new property. But the goal was always to try to renovate what was there without a special permit, just as a matter of right, and utilizing the exemption for the roof pitch for a non-conforming structure, as well as the exemption for a damaged structure to expand it by up to 50%. And that was what I applied for in the building permit application. I applied to renovate raise the structure, repair the foundation as necessary, put up the new structure with the new roof, and build it up to code, and while doing it, raise the elevation to meet the bylaw requirement for 2 feet above the center line of the road. Right now, it's probably a foot below. So all of that was to make the property and the structure more conforming to Halifax's bylaws. It's been a long slog. This started, back in 2000 and late 2015 when the pipes were repaired. Since then, I've been trying to get more and more information on what's allowed and what's not allowed. And I've gotten to the point now where I've filed the building permit. The building permit was denied. I don't really understand why it doesn't qualify for the roof exemption or the damaged structural repairs. And so that's what we're here to discuss. I have no real interest in going crazy with this thing. I can certainly apply for just a building permit for the roof, but I'd really like to do it all in one pass and just remove the structure, put up the new one, and move on. I've been forced to kind of use it more as a workshop and storage than as a house, and I'd like to get back in there and utilize it. But unfortunately, I can't do that with the condition of mold that I've got in there. And I can't take it down because the building inspector doesn't want me to do any more work there. So I'm kind of between a rock and a hard place on what I can do and what I'm told not to do. At this point, I've just kind of exhausted all my options to get this issue resolved and try to understand what damage means. Because like I say, I was told both by my engineer and the building inspector that the building had some structural damage. And to me, damage should qualify me to do the expansion of a non-conforming structure.
Okay, this is located at 9 Lake Street, correct?
That's correct.
All right, when I drove by, just so I'm clear on myself, is there 2 houses on one lot, or are there each of the 2 houses, there's a house in the front, okay, if you're on the street looking at the house to the right, and then there's another house set behind it.
Correct.
Now, they're both on one lot.
No, they're on separate lots.
They're on separate lots.
Yes.
Okay, so the house on the right is this one.
The house on the right is that one, the smaller
Right.
one, yeah.
And the one on the back on the left is staying intact, and that's fine. There's
Correct.
nothing being done with that one.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct. Yeah,
And-
this,
okay.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't get
And when, all right, so they're held separately on separate deeded, two separate lots.
Correct.
All right, and then this house, you want to raise it and put it up to 2 stories.
Well, I want to change the pitch of the roof. It won't be 2 stories per se. Any expansion will be within the frame of the roof.
Oh, is there going to be living space on the second floor?
Well, there'll be an office and a bathroom up there. Yeah, that's part of the expansion for the damage. So, I mean, clearly I can go out. I really don't want to make it a big footprint. But if I can change the roof of the pitch of the roof, you know, that exempts me from the vertical stipulation of the damage expansion. And then, you know, I could certainly do it in 2 steps, but like I say, it's much easier and much more genuine
Right.
to come in and tell you, this is what I'm gonna do. And this is what I've been trying to tell everybody since the beginning.
How big is this lot that this sits on?
It's about 3,750 square feet. They're both about the same size. I believe that there was an 81L done back in 1993 to create the 2 lots, and they were separately lived in and have been inhabited, as far as I know, ever since.
When we did well, we've done an awful lot of work reviewing and whatnot on the street, but I recall over the years that is there somewhere from the driveway on the right-hand side, is there some kind of easement, or is there I don't know what else to call it, a right of way to the water?
There's nothing that shows up in the title chain, no.
Nothing that showed up in the title check?
No, there was plans that were part of the application showed a Scribner's note about Bowers Landing, but there's no easement per se to it.
What's Bowers Landing now? How did they describe that?
They didn't. It's not described in the deed. It's not described, as far as I know, anywhere. It didn't show up in the title chain. Obviously, I took title insurance on the property when I bought it because half of the house is on that other lot. So as far as I know, there are no easements on the property prior to my buying it. Since I bought it, there is I put in a landscaping easement so that because it has a shared septic system between the 2 houses. So there is a landscaping easement, reciprocal landscaping easement to allow maintenance of the leaching field and maintenance of the tank.
Yeah, working down before I don't recall the shed. When did the shed get put up in the backyard?
I
It
want to
looked
say
almost new.
it's relatively new. I want to say 2014, 2015. I don't know the exact date. I didn't know, but there used to be 2 smaller sheds there. Both were in pretty poor condition, and I took both of them down and put up this new one.
Was the permit taken out in 2014?
There was no permit taken out. It was under the 200 square feet. The building inspector didn't take issue with it at the time. I did ask, and I did.
What year was that?
I don't recall. I think it was either 2014 or 2015. I bought the property in 2013.
So that would have predated me, and you would be correct. Anything under 200 square feet, you would not be required to have a building permit.
Right.
But you would still need to maintain zoning setbacks.
Okay. Well, like I said, there was no concern at the time.
I wasn't here to have that conversation. All I'm saying is
Okay.
you would have had to maintain zoning setbacks. If you didn't require a building permit, you would still need to maintain zoning setbacks for that structure.
Okay. Well, like I said, I put it on the exact same footprint that the other one was. I did talk to the Conservation Commission about it. They required me to put up some silt fencing. I wasn't doing any excavation, and that's another story. But like I said, the structures were there. I was effectively just replacing them on pilings. There was no.
Okay, now, if you could go through, Mr. Rodriguez, what's been your discussions now with this building inspector as far as this piece of property going?
Well, like I say, I started with the with getting the building permit to remove the interior drywall and the water damaged material. And I did get it secure a building permit for that. A few days after the dumpster left with the majority of the debris in it, I got a call from the building department. The building department wanted to do an inspection, which I didn't solicit, but it was I didn't have a problem with it. And building inspector came down and took a look and was concerned that I had exceeded the scope of the permit. And I tried to explain I was just taking out the damaged material. I told him I was going to take out the drywall. And when I took out the damaged material, obviously that included carpeting and included a little some of the subfloor. But again, all of that was I didn't realize at the time that the subfloor was structural. It was just damaged and wet, and that's why it went in the dumpster.
At that time, had you submitted a plan for the reconstruction and the second floor?
No. What the original thought was to do the investigation and see what the state of the actual structure is. I could see that the roof didn't look too good. So I knew I had to do the roof. But I wanted to know about the foundation, I wanted to know about the interior and the framing and everything else. And the only way to see that was to take out the drywall.
Did the building inspector review the criteria that was necessary for the restoration and on a structure on a project such as this with you?
No, not specifically. I've tried to solicit that information. I haven't been successful trying to understand where the exemptions that are a matter of right leave off and the special permit begins. Because as from how I read the bylaws exempt certain activities for a non-conforming structure that are
Right.
allowed as a
Exactly.
matter of right.
Exactly.
And my belief was and is that the extensive damage to the structure would kick in the exemption for a restoration.
All right, so you are not increasing the footprint?
I'm making it a little smaller, but no, I'm not increasing the footprint.
The foundation size or anything?
Correct, it's gonna be a little smaller. Right now it's 18 feet from the front of the road. It has a rear setback of 1.4 feet. It has a side setback of 5.6 feet. All a function of the 81L, I believe, trying to create a property line. So it's very, very tight on setbacks, but and that's why I don't really want to get too creative with taking up more of the lot. And if I can, and I wanted to maintain a low profile to the roof line. So I didn't want, a 12 pitch or an 18 pitch roof that by what I read in the bylaws is allowed. I wanted to keep it low profile, so I went down to more of a gambrel style so that I could, not be quite so intrusive, keep more in keeping with the neighborhood. So it would, from the outside looking in, it would look like just a gambrel ranch, gambrel cottage.
Questions from the board members? Seeing none.
See, that's the proposed foundation. This is the existing, and that would be removed. And this little piece here would be.
Where's the street now?
Street is.
Oh, this one.
I'm sorry, the street is up here.
Oh, okay.
And the reason for doing that is, I didn't really.
So this would be,
need that
this would come out, and this would come out?
Well, this little piece would come
Oh,
out.
oh, just
and
that
this little
piece.
piece would come out. And I wanted to do that so that I ended up with an architectural element to make the house look a little prettier. More like a little Cape Cod cottage.
What kind of foundation is it now?
Right now, it's a mix of masonry and it's kind of a mess. But there's a lot of old bricks, rubble, whatever they put in there.
Is there a foundation, is there a cellar?
It's a crawl space.
Oh, is it dirt?
Yes. It's dirt when it's not wet.
Do you have a plot plan?
I did submit it with the original
Have it in your packet.
application.
It's in the petition folder in front of you, Bert.
There is a, all the plot plans
Baker
were
Street,
included.
Lake Street.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
I'm just gonna give you some information here because my recollection varies a little bit from Mr. Rodriguez as far as how it transpired and moved forward. So basically, he did come in and he pulled a permit
when was that, Ron?
May 10th, 2016, to remove some interior drywall, inspect and remove damaged water material. At that point, the conversation was he was going to remove carpet, he was going to remove damaged material that would be no good after it got wet. He did give me a layout of the walls that were going to be removed for sheetrock only and to inspect only. Afterwards, he was to call me for an inspection so I could go over there with him. And this is basically what transpired. I did get a call at around October from an abutter concerned that the house was being demolished because it appeared that there was a lot of material being removed from the inside. At that point, I requested an inspection from Mr. Rodriguez, and that's what transpired. So these are my letters and his letters back and forth as to what happened when the sheetrock was removed, to give you an update as far as my recollection. And then I can comment on the building permit application that he applied for the two-story structure.
And what's your feeling? You know, I can read this into the minutes, but I mean,
He went beyond the scope of the work as far as I was concerned. He removed structural material, the floor joists were gone. Basically, when I walked into that front entrance of the home, you could see right down to the basement. There was more than subfloor removed, there were floor joists removed. There was a hole through the foundation. I'm not doubting that there was a water pipe that burst. I do believe that, you know, whether there was lack of maintenance going on or whether the house was so old it was in disrepair, you know, that was also involved. At one point, he was going to move forward with reconstructing the home as it was, which would be a monstrous undertaking because the house is basically in disrepair. But it could be done. So I said he'd need a structural report on the foundation. He'd need basically a report from an engineer on the rest of the structure.
did you get that, Rob? I know he
I
meant
did
Mr.
get a
also.
report.
It did.
Yep, and it said that the foundation was in disrepair, things along those lines. I can't speak for Mr. Rodriguez. I think maybe at that point he felt that fixing it as is was more than he maybe wanted to take on, or it would be not worth his financing to do that, rather than, you know, just put up a new structure. I'm not saying that's out of his purview or his right. If you look at the way the denial letter was written, what was proposed to me was a two-story structure replacing a one-story structure. And if you read it, it doesn't meet the requirements of, like I said in the report, of the exemption and/or the restoration because it's exceeding the height and the floor area.
When you say exceeding the height, you mean the
The
existing
structure's
height?
height.
The existing height that's now, or just
Correct.
the fact that it's a two-story building?
It's exceeding the height. So if we go into restoration,
Yeah, it can't exceed the original height.
non-conforming building
Restoration bylaw.
shall not exceed the original area by more than 50%, shall not exceed the original height. And it clearly exceeded the original height. I do have plans that he submitted showing a two-story structure. And under the exemption, you'll notice it specifies floor area, not living space.
Oh, I see. So the fact that it's a
An
office and a
It's
bathroom,
floor
right,
area.
it's just, it's floor space.
Correct.
Gentlemen, any other questions of either the building inspector or Mr. Rodriguez? I took a quick swing by on before the meeting just because I wasn't sure exactly where it was, but it's almost the first or second structure as you take the right onto Lake Street.
Right or left, yeah. I mean, just to, I mean, I don't have the majority of the building inspector's content, I really don't have a problem with. I didn't remove any floor joists. I know it might look like I removed floor joists. There weren't any floor joists there. So this was a 1925 cottage. I know that they took out drywall. I know that they took out a bunch of stuff, and I know they took out subfloor. And I didn't recognize that as a structural element. But I know that I didn't take out any of the structure itself. I mean, the other thing to keep in mind is, under normal circumstances, I didn't take out insurance on this property. Under normal circumstances, when you have a flood like this or you have mold like this, you call your insurance agent, and your insurance agent goes to the building inspector and says, well, we've got damage and we need to fix it. And the building inspector says, well, yes, you need to fix it. And if he says no, then the mortgage holder of the bank, of the house, gets on the phone with the insurance agent and they work it all out. I don't have a mortgage. I didn't keep insurance. So this is why this looks a little suspect. But it's not. I've just been trying to do whatever I can to get this thing renovated. And, like I said, we've exchanged some emails and I've been trying to get some understanding of of what the roof exemption allows. Because if the roof pitch can change, then the height is immaterial. If I can make
No,
it...
not according to a bylaw, Mr. Rodriguez.
Well, again, I'm not, they're somewhat incestuous in that if you have an exemption for a roof pitch, I could come in tomorrow for a building permit for the roof pitch under the exemption and put in an 18 pitch roof. Or
Can
put
that
in
be
a-
done?
But you can't increase the floor area.
Correct.
That's what the issue is.
Correct. I would not increase the floor area.
So
I
you
would not
wouldn't have
put.
an office
I would
or-
not put. I would just leave whatever structural joists are required to maintain the lateral structure of the house. No floor. No wiring.
Can under restoration, you can change or alter
Well, yeah, I think he's
an
talking
alteration of the
about
pitch of the roof?
exemption.
I'm talking
And
about the roof.
I believe that bylaw was put in, and again, we do have some cottage areas where they may have had flat roofs, they may have had low sloped roofs that were creating problems with water damage and things along those lines. So, and again, my opinion was the bylaw was to put in to give people the ability to raise their roof line to shed water. So that you wouldn't necessarily have to go through a full-blown special hearing to protect your home from water that might be getting in from a low pitched roof.
So effectively, you can change your roof pitch to whatever you'd like, as long as you don't add floor area
Or
or
horizontal.
horizontal
Well,
extension.
This
Neither
is-
of which is
This
true.
is where it gets tricky, as
How much higher
with
is
our
it?
bylaw. If it becomes something that might be detrimental to the neighborhood, if it's ruining
Mm-hmm.
somebody's view, if it's creating airflow difference, if he says he's putting an 18 pitch roof on, that's a determination I would have to make and send him to the zoning board of appeals.
How much higher are you going than the original roof?
I'd have to look at the drawings, but I think it's.
It was a second floor, so you were adding 10 feet and going up whatever the additional.
No, because the ceiling height in that second space was only going to be 7 feet. I was trying to keep it as low profile as
It was
possible.
originally 1 story and you're making it 2 story?
I don't look at it that way. I look at it that I'm utilizing the roof, the area underneath the roof.
This is what was presented.
Well, it was 1 story and now it's gonna be 2 story.
Yeah, it'll have some stairs to
It's
it.
gonna be
It'll be a
stairs.
story and a half. It won't be
Yeah, I mean, I think,
an 8-foot ceiling. It
I'm
won't
just
be a
asking.
10-foot
Yeah.
height.
A straight answer.
Yeah, no, it won't be.
How much higher from the original? You must know.
I don't know. I mean, this is, it's gonna have a 7-foot ceiling height. Just looking for the elevation, total elevation here. 7 feet 10 inches. So it looks like it's gonna be up about 7 feet, 8 feet. But again,
I'm
it's
not
also.
familiar with, excuse me.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm also going to raise it up 2 feet off of the ground to stay within the constraints of the bylaw for the median, the
grade.
center line grade. So even if I just change the roof line, even if I maintain the existing structure, to get it more conforming to bylaws, I'm going to have to raise the structure up 2 feet anyway. So if I raise it up 2 feet anyway, then I'm going to have to repair the foundation to accommodate that increased height.
So the new height is gonna be 18 feet 16 inches.
So what do you have right now? Blocks?
And then
What do you,
on top of
what, is it frost walls?
And
Go
that's
down
only to
4
the
feet?
side.
What is it? It was built in 1925.
Yeah, as far as I know, it's just masonry brick.
Just masonry brick.
That's, yeah.
So is this gonna be required, block to have frost walls put in?
It's a new structure, it would have to require all new, it would have to meet the building code.
So this structure is totally being raised?
I don't know what's being, I think you need to read the notice of this meeting again, as it's being presented.
Well, I'm confused. Are we raising the whole building?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that's
so
the
Was the
intent.
demo permit taken out?
No, because I
Not
can't
to
take
raise
out
the
a
building.
demo permit until,
That would have
And that
been
would-
required?
yeah.
Would that be required?
He applied in 2015 to the previous building inspector to raise and rebuild the structure. He was given a denial letter that he would need a special permit. He didn't take advantage of that. And then this has gone on. Then we came into the permits of removing the drywall and things along those lines. I told Mr. Rodriguez from the beginning it's a pre-existing non-conforming structure and lot, and he would need a special permit to move forward if he was doing it.
So,
or an
so,
appropriate bylaw
so
exemption.
you've done a partial demo at this point. It's the building's still up?
Oh, yeah,
Okay, so you've done a
Yeah,
partial
still
demo
functioning
to, I'm just trying to get it straight in my head, to figure out the extent of the damage.
correct.
Okay. At that point, you were called by a neighbor, and you made a determination.
When I went, I was called by a neighbor, he had a building permit to remove drywall and do an investigation and water damage.
And you think you went beyond that a little bit?
Yes, he did go beyond that.
In terms of the subfloor,
Okay.
I agree.
Right,
Well,
okay.
Like I said,
All right.
I do recall when I met you that day, I asked permission, and it's in my notes, I asked permission to come in and take pictures, you denied it.
Yes, sir, but I
So
wasn't
just want that to
done.
be on record.
No, and I wasn't done. So once I had finished doing what I was gonna do with the permit, I would have gladly called the office for the inspection. I'm not trying to,
I'm
I'm
just
trying
telling
to
you what
hide what I'm
transpired.
doing
I
here. I'm
understand,
just-
I understand.
I'd like to read the building inspector's letter to Mr. Rodriguez into the minutes. His letter dated December 16th, 2019, which is the basis of the whole application process here. Dear Mr. Rodriguez, your application is submitted on 12/9/2019 for a building permit applicable to 9 Lake Street, Halifax, Mass, being lot 1533 on Assessors Map 20, has been denied by the department for the following reasons. In my opinion, your project would constitute a continuation, alteration, and extension of a non-conforming use according to the zoning bylaws of the town of Halifax, 167-8A, 167-8B, and 167-8C, requiring a special permit and/or variance from the zoning board of appeals. Also, based on your application, your project does not meet the requirements of 167-8D restoration or 167-8G exemption. If you wish to pursue this matter under Chapter 167-21, you may, 1, appeal the decision by filing an appeal with the Zoning Board of Appeals within 30 days of this decision, or 2, apply for a variance and/or special permit from the Zoning Board of Appeals. Applications are available from the regulatory board secretaries or the town clerk's office. Robert Piccirilli, Building Inspector of Buildings, Building Commissioner. Okay, so specifically, 1, based on your application, your project does not meet the requirements of 167-8D restoration and 167-8G exemption. Can we bring them up and just go through them if we could?
So 167-8D is a restoration. A non-conforming building or structure which has been damaged or destroyed may be repaired or rebuilt, provided that such restoration shall not exceed the original area by more than 50%. Shall not exceed the original height, and shall be placed no nearer the street line than the building or structure which the restoration replaces.
So it doesn't say living area, it says
So that's the exemption.
under, okay,
So in the exemption, which is G, 8G.
right,
A
167-8G.
vertical extension, this is what the issue is, the vertical extension of a non-conforming building which would increase the pitch of the roof line, but does not expand the building horizontally and does not increase or create any additional floor area, shall be deemed not to increase the non-conforming nature of the building. So and my question, I guess, is, Do you think the intent of the bylaw would be if someone wanted to put 4 stories and make it a gambrel roof line and increase the pitch, would that meet the bylaw too?
No, but I don't think that's the situation. I think in this situation,
Yeah.
I think in
I
this-
guess my question is how do we approve this?
I think the way I would look at it if I were on the board, and I've gone through, just to give you a little history of me,
Yeah.
grew up in Hanover. I was on the advisory committee in Hanover. I was on the Board of Health. I was the liaison of the planning board for a number of years on the advisory committee. Went through all their zoning bylaws. And I've also lived in non-conforming houses pretty much my whole life. But the way I look at it is the roof is exempt. If the roof is exempt, then the vertical height for the what's the word I'm looking for?
The pitch. Yeah, is that what you're saying?
The pitch is satisfied. So the vertical height is satisfied by the pitch change, which is what I'm basically doing here is with a pitch change and better structural integrity. Because the height is changed as a function of the roof line, as a function of the roof exemption, then the restoration, the added 50% square foot of the restoration is within the bounds of the exempted roof line. So I'm not adding, you understand, I'm not,
Your exterior walls are the same height, and you're just changing the pitch of the roof. Is that what you're trying to say?
well, they won't be the same height because I'll need to be within the building code. So they'll have to be a little taller to meet the
Just to
building
meet the
code.
building code, but no higher.
Correct.
So
And then
that
the
means it'll
roof
be
would
2.5 feet above the crown of the road, plus the second floor extension here, the top of the building now goes an additional 18 feet, 5/16 inches.
It's a gambrel, is it gonna be like a gambrel?
The issue here is that this is the top of the first floor wall. This is the roof connection.
Right. So this is what my issue is, right? Is so you've alluded a little bit to the fact that there might be 1.5 stories or something like that, and I would agree in your analysis that the pitch, it seems like you've created this to create a pitch of a roof line that starts right at the original wall, so that you can put a second story in and still have a roof line that is a pitch. So I'm uncomfortable voting for this because I'm not sure you're not gonna put in a second story and add living area to it. Because I personally think the intent of the bylaw was kind of the way Rob described it, which was to allow for water to drip off of a roof or allow a pitch to a roof if you don't already have it. It's not to add a second story onto
I
it.
agree.
And typically
And
on that plot, you would use the existing wall.
Right,
So you have a flat roof with the existing wall, all you're doing is this, on the same wall.
yeah, I don't know if.
That's the intent.
I'm concerned a little bit.
my opinion.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand your concern,
Yeah.
and I don't disagree. But let me give you the way I've looked at it for the last 18 months. The roof pitch is immaterial. There are no guidelines for what the roof can be. There are no dimensional requirements for what defines the pitch. I am definitely changing the pitch. At issue is whether I can use the space that I'm creating. And I'm not doing that in any kind of clandestine manner. What I'm saying is, as a function of tearing down the house because because it has extensive structural damage in the opinion of both the building inspector and my engineer, I should be entitled to a 50% increase in living space, or increase in floor space. I don't know how they quantify
They
it.
say floor space.
Okay, so in
That's
floor
what you
space.
read, was floor space, right?
Original area.
Original area. So either way, I'm within that 50%. So the way I see it is, if the roof pitch is exempt, whether it's a gambrel or an 18 pitch.
But it specifically does mention in that restoration section that it doesn't increase the height. The only way
Agree.
you could increase arguably the height is by using the pitch of the roof, but it sounds to me like the intent is they don't want you to add a second story. I mean, that's what it sounds like.
By increasing the pitch, he's gonna have some living
That's
space.
right,
And what is he
right.
gonna do?
Well, no, not necessarily living space.
No,
They'll-
it will
storage
create, it will
space
create
or an
storage
attic
space
or, yeah.
by increasing the pitch. How much pitch is he gonna increase it by?
But it's a floor.
The other way to look at this too is the original roof. Was it a single pitch roof?
No, it's multiple pitched roof, it's been,
No, what I'm saying is, do we have an A-frame or basically a gambrel is a full dormer cape? Okay, full dormer on both sides. Really what you've done now, you've added full dormers on front and back. And the roof line is really the top. This really, you've added multiple facets to your roof line, where we could interpret it that you just changed the pitch of one roof. Now what you've done is you've created full dormers
sure,
to create a second floor.
sure.
Right.
Sure.
And I don't,
But
that's probably not the intent of the bylaw.
But the intent of the bylaw was to allow me to change the roof pitch just
But
that way.
what I'm saying is
So I
that's
can't
beyond
use-
just changing the roof pitch. And, this looks like it might be like a 4-pitch here or a 5-pitch
Yeah,
there,
it's for-
right? So, I'm good.
I'm
So,
really- Very impressive.
I know.
machinist for 30. And, but you also have a second pitch here now.
Mm-hmm.
So does the bylaw allow you to create more pitches?
Certainly,
It does?
certainly.
Where does it say that?
So it say
It doesn't say,
change
it
the
says,
pitch
Increase
or-
the pitch.
Yeah, or not, the
You
pitch
see where I'm
is.
going with this?
Right, but-
Is that you're really stretching the intent of the bylaw, in my
but
opinion.
again, I've got multiple pitches now, so to change one roof
Well, you have
pitch,
multiple roofs or multiple pitches?
I have
You got a
multiple,
hip
I have
roof?
both. I have, yeah,
You got a hip roof?
I have a hip roof plus an an addition shed roof.
Well,
So
the
it's,
hip roof has one pitch.
right, and then there were additions that flattened that out even more.
Well, but they're different sections.
Yes,
Right.
but again, this is really no different. You have a small extension on one side of the house, and I'm changing it from what was a shed into what is a gable. So anytime you're changing a shed into a gable, you're going to have multiple pitches. You've got one on each side instead of one flat roof. So there's no limitation on what that pitch is. For example, I could come in tomorrow and ask for a building permit just to do the roof by that design.
Well,
No
there's
living
another-
space.
There's another limiting factor here, and I'm not familiar with the road, the surrounding buildings. What are they like? Are
They're all cottages.
they tall like this?
No.
Because that's
I
another.
mean, there are a couple,
Well, you-
I won't say,
But that's the
no,
other
there aren't any, but-
consideration, is it gonna change the tenor and the?
Well, the one
and
across the street is
complexion of the-
has a 3-car garage with an apartment over the second story in a gambrel configuration. 2 houses down, there is a 1,700 square foot 1-bedroom house that was completely renovated through the ZBA in '98. So they have, been trying to, next door to me on the other side is a gambrel cape with a 2-car attached.
But we don't know whether the size of the lots, the setbacks, I mean, you have a non-conforming lot, those could have been conforming lots. So,
And each
we gotta
case
be
is certainly
apples to
judged on
apples
its
here,
own merit.
Oh, I'm not
Right.
discounting it.
Right,
I'm
right.
just.
Right.
I know where all of those lots over there are in relatively small lots, and they're all within
My problem is,
the lake.
is this asking, well, I guess restoration does define that it could be a rebuild, okay.
Any other comments from members of the boards or questions before I opening up to the floor?
I just, it seems like that argument, or that reading of the bylaw says that even if they're not gonna increase living space, someone could ask for a 200-foot increase to their pitch. And I can't see that being the intent of the bylaw, as long as they don't create additional space.
But you're bound by the height limitation of the bylaws anyway. You can't go over 35 feet, so you can't without a variance.
Yeah.
You can't go over the 35 feet.
They could be exempt. That's, I don't know, it seems, doesn't, I don't know. I'm just-
Well, again, I mean, I'm not gonna tell you that it wasn't considered when I chose the roof pitch, but it was only considered because I had the damaged structure. If I didn't have the damaged structure, I never would consider adding additional space. But since I can add additional space, whether that means behind the structure, if I can add a 300-foot addition behind the structure as an expansion for the restoration, that's not prohibited. I can go to the side, and that's not prohibited, as long as I maintain my 1.4 foot rear setback. I can go all the way to the lake. The point is, I don't really want to do that. I want to just, explain what I'm doing, and really get you on board that there's nothing nefarious here. I'm just trying to renovate a little cottage and get back to living there. And the only way that I know to do that is I have to repair the roof. And if I'm going to repair the roof, I might as well incorporate my additional space, my additional restoration space within the bounds of that roof, rather than taking up more.
But the restoration space specifically talks about how it's not supposed to be height.
It's specifically mentioned.
And in the pitch, it talks about how it's not supposed to be additional space inside that pitch.
Right.
That's
No,
the
I
concern.
understand, but the issue becomes, if I apply for a building permit tomorrow to repair my roof, and then come back in tomorrow to get my restoration for mold damage that I've got underneath it, then there is no real argument, because I'm not increasing in height. It's existing vertical space. So, in other words, I could do the same thing. I don't think it's in anybody's best interest to play that little shell game. I don't want to put you in that position. I don't want to put myself in that position. But
Bob Brookside, do you have any other questions or anything of the applicant? You good? All right, I'll open up to anyone from the members of the audience or anything, have any questions or comments or whatever?
Well, I think the problem, like you said, is the restoration. Does he fall, as submitted, does he fall into the requirements of a restoration? Is he exceeding the height? Now, he could come in and say, I'm gonna build new walls to meet the building code for the height, and I'm gonna put an A-frame on it. But if he's exceeding the height of the original structure, does he then in fact need a special permit under 167(8)D and or variance under 167(8)D?
Let me just ask you, is there a cease and desist currently on the property, or how?
As far as I know, Mr. Rodriguez has ceased on his own.
But there isn't anything from your office that says cease and desist?
there was a recommendation.
He was continuing forward with other building permits. I didn't see the need at that point.
I guess the real question, Mr. Chairman, is whether the structure has been damaged. Because if the structure hasn't been damaged, then we're all wasting our time. And I think everybody is clear that the structure has been damaged.
And again, here's my, and I don't want to say problem, here's my concern with a damaged structure. So, and I agree with you, that was probably built 19s, 20s, somewhere around there. But at what point does lack of maintenance cause a restoration? I'm not doubting, I looked at the water department, he had a water pipe burst in the basement. I don't think that caused the damage that was up above. I don't know, there was a new roof, when did you have the roof put on?
Well, just to be clear, there were heating elements in the first floor that
So
broke.
did those burst also?
Those burst, yeah.
So when was there a new roof put on?
I've never put on a new roof. And that's,
Was there a roof put on before you purchased? What year did you purchase the property?
I purchased it in 2013.
2013.
There was a new roof put on the structure at 13 Lake Street, but the one at 9 Lake Street wasn't touched.
So we don't, so here's again, like, it's a concern, it's a concern with this restoration is if somebody doesn't put a new roof on until there's damage within the walls and mold and all that other stuff because the roof was leaking, is that a restoration or is that lack of maintenance?
I guess it depends on who's coming in for the permit. If the insurance company is coming in for the permit, then it becomes a function of maintenance. If the homeowner is coming in for the permit, it becomes a function of special permit.
And I agree,
And there's-
we have the restoration in there for a good reason.
Right, and to be honest with you, I don't understand why it should matter to this board, because the goal is to get people back in their houses into safe
And
conditions.
the goal is for you to have the ability to rebuild your damaged structure.
Correct.
Again, the issue before the board is, at what point under 167(8)D do you need a special permit and or variance?
Oh, I
Well,
understand.
it says under D that if, what, did I lose it? probably. Restoration, a non-conforming building or structure which has been damaged or destroyed may be rebuilt. So you fall into that, you were damaged.
Okay.
Okay, so remember, we fell into that. Provided that such restoration shall not exceed the original area by more than 50%, and being damaged, shall not exceed the original height, and shall be placed no nearer to the street line than the building or structure which the restoration replaces. Kinda ties your hands, because it's specifically talking about a non-conforming building that was damaged. And it's saying that it shall not may not could not, shall not exceed the original height. Now, there could be an argument made, you've got to build it to code, to the wall height, and you want to meet the grade, the 2 feet above center line of the road, right?
Well, I would think you would want me to.
Right, well, it's code, but it's kind of being very, very specific there.
I don't disagree, but again, I could build an addition on the back in the same configuration under the restoration bylaw and get to the same place. I would just prefer to do it within the new roof. And since I've already got it designed, I will press forward with getting that new roof design approved anyway.
Well, what was the bylaw you just said, under the restoration, what's that bylaw?
167 8D.
No, this is
The roof-
specifically talking about a damaged building.
Yes.
So where is it saying you can add?
It says I'm allowed a 50% expansion.
As long
Yeah.
as you.
As long as I don't get nearer the
As long as
street
you're near the
and I
street.
don't change the height.
As long as you can fit on the lot, and I don't know what the lot looks like, I have
So
no
it's-
idea.
Yeah,
So, but again, now I've
I
got,
thought we were on a very tight lot here.
we
No,
are,
It's a big lot.
and it has a 1
It's
point,
3,750 square feet, he
right,
said.
and it has a 1.4 foot rear setback.
So where can you add this fictitious addition? Where
Well,
did you put it?
I have some room beside that
How
1.4
much?
feet. I don't know, 15, 20 feet?
That still wouldn't meet, that would be
25%
non-conforming though.
I'm
you
sorry?
could increase the non-conformity up to 50%. I mean, I don't really
No,
necessarily
no,
take
but
issue with
the
that.
setback wouldn't be conforming. You can't. put
Right, you
that
can't do
on.
it in
It would,
front.
it would be,
You
it would,
couldn't do that, is what I'm saying.
well,
Well,
it
special
would,
permit.
it would stay at 1.4 feet.
No,
I wouldn't get less than
you can't change
1.4
the other
feet.
sideline smaller, no.
I'm not changing the size on it, small, that's not what I'm saying.
It's all right, we're talking about two different
Okay.
things. It's all right.
My concern is, that I think I've said it, is the 8G issue. I don't know if
Okay.
that, and it's,
But
I think I think you have a pretty good argument to 8D.
Okay.
And you meet the restoration piece, and I think the goal is always to have that we want people to restore their property. Like that's the goal. I don't think that the intent of the bylaw is to restore your property and increase the floors that you have. Like, I think that's a separate conversation, and I don't know if, I suspect that with that roof line, the pitch, or multiple pitches, that's gonna be a second floor, and I think that's not the intent of the restoration.
What's the pleasure of this board? Normally we do a site inspection, unless people are familiar with it, or if people want to go see it, well, that's our normal practice, is to go do a site inspection. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not familiar with it. I mean, it's the majority of rules, I mean, I would like to see it.
All right. Well, right now then, I'll entertain a motion to continue petition number, what are we?
918.
918 until our next meeting, our next monthly meeting, which is in April. And we'll continue it to then.
We're doing a motion on.
We have to continue it, and then we'll do a motion on the site inspection.
What time?
Okay, we can do it the other way around. How about a motion to, I'm easy.
but you're not cheap.
How about a motion to arrange for a site inspection?
A motion to go on a site inspection for petition 918.
Do I have a second?
Second.
When?
Second question.
We're gonna do that right now.
For the onsite?
Yes.
April 11th, Saturday before the next meeting,
Yeah.
9 o'clock.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
That's when we normally do our first one on Saturday at 9 o'clock before, the Saturday before our meeting.
Sorry,
Okay,
you-
so there's a motion on the floor to conduct the site inspection on April 11th at 9 AM, Saturday,
Start work for him.
and it has been seconded? Second?
Yes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5-0 to 0 for the site inspection. And now a motion to continue petition 918 until our April hearing.
Motion to continue 9/18, April 11th.
In a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
First, what time?
9 AM.
No, the regular, the continuance.
The first one,
7.
7:15 or 7:10, whatever. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Alana, do we have a, I'm completing everything application here in front of us with the,
I didn't see a plot plan in there.
do we have a plot plan and everything in there?
Yep.
Sorry, I'm part of this, I didn't see a plot plan.
With the what?
I didn't see one.
Everything's in the end.
With the setbacks and all that?
Is it in the actual, it's not in here?
I didn't see it.
Well, if you didn't see it, I'm sure it's not.
I know I did drop off 4 copies of a full site plan, full set of construction drawings.
Is there a plot plan, do you know?
There was a plot plan included.
It's for this
To zoning or building?
building that I have them. Did we drop off for zoning?
To zoning,
Zoning as well?
in the appeal packet.
Okay.
There's a
So like, not, like big size like that?
big size, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, they were all rolled up.
there's a rolled up plan right there, but I just don't know which one it is. Usually.
Just wanna make sure we have it
Just looks like it.
Is that it?
That's it. Yeah.
That was the plot plan for the septic system. The original plot plan should be in there as well, for when they did the actual zoning setbacks.
Okay. How many of them was that?
I'm sorry?
There's a couple, how many, what's its septic system rated for?
It's rated at 3 bedrooms.
3 bedroom, okay.
It's both properties are deed restricted.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll
Thank
see
you.
you on the 11th. All right, seeing that we're behind you. 7:20, we're close. Okay, petition number 919. Okay, the Halifax Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on Monday, March 9th, 2020 at 7:20 PM in meeting number 1 of the Halifax Town Hall, 499 Plymouth Street, Halifax, Mass. On the application by Oliver Orwig for a special permit to build a 2-story addition located at 20 Baker Street, Halifax, Mass. Said property is owned by Aaron DeWicki and John Rennick, shown on Assessors Map 42, Lot 75, title reference book 44703, page 323. The applicant is seeking a special permit to build an 18 by 18 2-story addition, which would constitute a continuation of a non-conforming use, an alteration and extension of a non-conforming use in accordance with the zoning bylaws of the town of Halifax under sections 167(8)(a), B, and C. Area is zoned residential, petition number 919. Hi,
Hi, good evening.
how are you?
I'm fine. How are
Mr.
you?
Orwig?
Yep, my name is Oliver Orwig. I'm here with Dan Orwig and my client Erin Dewicki. She's a homeowner. We're proposing to build an addition off the back of their house.
I'm sorry, no, are you the contractor?
I'm sorry, I'm the designer.
Oh, okay.
And my father, Dan, is the landscape architect and engineer.
You're the designer, but the application's in your name.
Yes, I filled out all of the application paperwork for my
All right, why don't you show us what you have, what you plan on doing?
Yeah. So we have a pre-existing non-conforming lot over on Baker Street. Can you guys see?
No, not at all.
Can I do this?
Sure, that's fine.
Is that okay? The property has an existing public way here that when they subdivided this parcel, they used this to give this site its frontage. So you can see the existing property, or the existing house has 12.2 feet to the lot line on this side. You can see the setbacks are shown here in red.
Okay, what streets are we intersecting here?
This is Baker Street, and I'm not exactly sure, but Baker Street.
I'm just trying to picture where it is. Is the public way a street or?
Assessor's map. This parcel's right here. This is Baker, Ridge Road. Now this is the total subdivision plan of record.
Okay, so what is that public way? Is there a street name on it? Or no?
We assume it's Baker. There's no name on it, but
Is there a road there now, or it's just?
it's, well, no. Right now,
It's just undeveloped.
it's
land.
this is all vegetation. The cart path is actually off the public way. And
Of course
there's a
it is.
building right here that was built some time
Sounds
ago.
like
Aaron,
Halifax to
you
me.
know about the
That's our
building.
front yard. So the road technically cuts right across our front yard from the flagpole over.
You see their lawn is here.
So that's lawn,
Yeah.
the 40-foot
lawn.
public way.
It's a public way
Okay.
subdivision, or is it an easement?
Through subdivision.
Which lot is it now? Again?
Their lot is this one right here.
This one.
Yeah, it's right here.
When did that get approved?
Aaron just told me, and I didn't know this, that this used to be the public
Beach.
beach access for the total subdivision.
Huh.
Taxes weren't paid on that, so the town took it and then sold it to,
Our neighbors paid the back taxes on it and took over that part of it. But that
Oh,
wasn't.
so now it's kind of basically become one?
well,
No,
no, it's still, it's.
Two separate.
It was this lot, so this person bought,
Oh, I see.
paid the back taxes on that. Now there's
Oh.
a house on that. So,
So
this
that's
is
supposed to
still,
be access,
this is still left as part of the road right-of-way system.
that was access to the pond.
Yes, it was. Yeah,
But
like a-
somebody's put a building on it now.
Yeah, some time ago. This building's been there for
Okay,
a
not for
while.
nothing, where is Jack Doucette's house on this?
I don't know Jack Doucette. Do you know Jack Doucette?
He's on the far end of the neighborhood.
No, so
Yeah.
he's,
Oh, okay, he's not near this.
So,
No.
so whose building is that?
It's this parcel's.
Okay.
Yikes.
Okay,
so
what are we doing?
The complicated thing here is that this is the frontage for the lot.
Gotcha.
This is the public way. So, and there's only just a little bit of frontage here. So, this house was built, and the setbacks, you can see here in red, the whole house, or let's say 70% of the house, is built within the setback. And approved, and it's been that way for a long time.
When was the house built?
1963, I believe.
63 or 64.
This site plan here.
Yeah,
has
I
61
have that,
on it.
I have that plan.
Yeah, I don't think that radius is considered frontage, I just think.
Yes, it
that's
is, you have two
frontage.
frontages.
That radius isn't as part of the
Yeah,
frontage.
here's
It's on two.
the plot plan that was from the Board of Health that built it during the day.
This is an absolute thing of beauty.
It's ridiculous. Oh, man.
Whose idea was it to join the zoning board?
Yeah.
I just filled out a sheet and here I am.
Okay, so what are we doing anyway?
So the existing house has a very small, narrow kitchen. So we want to put an addition off the back here that's not increasing the nonconformity in any manner. It's I can show you the proposed plan. To give them a larger kitchen that's more usable. Because right now, I mean, there isn't even enough room for an island or anything. There is an island in the kitchen, but it's like stacked up against the wall and you can't go all the way around it. It's very narrow. So the proposal is to put an addition off the back here that's 18 by 18.
Just for a kitchen.
For a kitchen, and then the up above, we're keeping we're moving the master bedroom here above, and then we're putting an office down below.
And what do we got? We got 42.8 feet for one side setback. What's the house got for a side setback right now?
On this side,
Yep.
24.2 here. And then over here, we're 37.5 to the new, where the existing is 12.2.
Are you decreasing the backside from 50 to 48?
I'm sorry?
From the addition to the lake?
From the addition, I'm not sure I understand.
You're 45.8 feet.
From the
Right.
top of bank.
What was the measurement before the addition?
Oh, I
The
don't.
side or rear?
Well, it's an 18 by 18 foot addition, so
know.
it's 18 feet more.
63.8.
Okay.
Um,
Is it increasing the height?
We did an analysis of the paved coverage is only 5% of the lot paved now, and this proposal adds a couple, 2%, so it's way below the 25%.
It's a half an acre, roughly.
Yeah, 22,400 square feet.
Has this been approved by, does this have to go through like,
we're going to conservation tomorrow night.
oh, you want tomorrow, okay.
Yeah, especially where it's bordering the lake.
Right. Because you're within 50 feet, right? It's
Yep.
problem,
Within 50 feet of the what?
yeah. The lake. Any wetland, and lakes, conservation and all that, type of stuff.
And that shows 45.8.
Right.
Okay.
You're not changing the height of the roof line.
No, we're staying below the existing roof with the new.
It's below the other one, huh?
Yeah.
Gentlemen, questions, I'll open up to the board.
So is the house in the same number of bedrooms?
Yes. Yep, it's a 3-bedroom house. It'll stay a 3-bedroom house.
What's the foundation gonna be on the addition?
It'll be a frost wall.
When you're doing frost walling, you're gonna pour slab under that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Just like access for storage?
Yes, the topography, this slopes way down, so there's a walkout on the back. So, you have full depth foundation here, but then it steps down, and then there's a slider right here that walks you out onto grade. So this will do the same thing. There'll be a slider.
What is the
here that walks
existing
you-
house? What kind of house is it?
It's a. I can show you the elevation. If you'd like to see it. Let's take this down for you. So this is the street view. It's colonial, and we're coming in behind. I can show you. There's no change on the front of the house, but the back of the house. So we're coming a foot below the existing ridge line.
So they're actually attaching 3 stories on it?
Yes, but we're well below the building height requirement.
Right. But it says a 2-story addition, but it's really 3
One story
stories.
is the basement.
1 story is the frame basement, yeah.
And what's in the planned basement? What's going in there?
This will be an office for her husband.
And the second floor will be just kitchen with a,
Yep, this is all kitchen. And then up here, we're moving the bedroom into here. And where the bedroom currently is will become an art studio for Aaron.
Kind of like increasing the conformity, so.
What's
Not
that?
increasing the height, it's not increasing the conformity.
Well, it's increasing the non-conformity if it's,
But the
Come
rear is
closer to the-
40 and the,
But it's not any closer.
yeah, but it's not conforming to the back of the side. But it's 40, it's gonna be 40 on the rear and 30 on the side, it's 45, so it's still.
to the side set. Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah. Whatever that side of the house is, I don't know what you would call that, but it's still.
What else do you have for drawings? Kitchen layout and whatnot?
Yep, you can
All the
see
base-
that. This is the side view. So this is the, the front of the property, and this is the lake side. Oops, sorry about that. This is the basement, so this will be her, John's office. Existing playroom, mechanical.
Is it broken down in the basement now?
Yes. So you can see the new kitchen. We're just opening up a wall here. The kitchen currently resides right here, and it's very narrow.
So is that whole thing gonna be kitchen?
This is just the kitchen.
Just there?
This is the this will be the
Okay,
dining room.
and what's in between that, right?
That's just gonna be a, like a homework
That's where the
station
kids
for the
run,
kids.
back and forth from family room to
Oh.
living room.
At 100 miles an hour. Sliders out onto the existing deck.
Yep, correct.
All right, what, there,
And
that's the second floor?
hmm So this is currently what is the bedroom, but what you do is
Oh,
walk
that's
in. This will
the
be
current
arts.
master bedroom that says office?
Yes,
Yep.
so this is gonna be her art studio that you walk in and go through to get to the master bedroom out on the water. And this will be a closet.
Full bath and everything in the master bedroom?
It's, we're just keeping the existing bath. We're moving a wall over slightly and just making the bathroom a little bigger.
And there's a deck on the master?
Yes.
Like a balcony, right?
Yeah, it's a cantilever balcony.
Any questions, gentlemen? Use that term loosely.
Well deserved. Touche.
Talk to any of the abutters or anything like that?
I believe Aaron
Yeah,
has.
yeah,
What's been the response?
they're excited for us.
Yeah.
We're not changing the view or anything, but we are
Right.
gonna have a more functional house and, everybody hangs out with each other, so
Yep.
make it better for all of us.
Just increase the,
Just the usability of it.
Right.
Yeah.
that could only happen in Halifax.
I thought
40-foot cover.
the second you put it up there, I was like, oh my god.
Instead of go through subdivision control.
Not in 1960s.
Is that an internal drive? You had to go
I
there.
can't even.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the board? You wanna see this? Wanna take a look?
I'll make a motion to waive the onsite.
I have a motion on the floor to waive the onsite. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 5-0. That just saved you 30 days. Basically, bottom line.
Cool. Thank you very much.
All right, gentlemen, you wanna vote on this? You wanna, I will entertain a motion regarding petition number 919. Voting on this is the members existing here.
I'll make a motion to accept petition 919 as presented.
Do I have a second?
A second.
All right, as the designer, builder, whatever, any substantial change or anything like that, or change, even a change that, different from what's been submitted, has to be brought in front of the board. And I don't think we need any, type of additional, it's just how it's
Yeah.
laid out
The
here.
application is in his name, right?
Yes,
Should it be changed to her name?
But it shows Aaron as the owner.
it does show Aaron as the owner, Aaron,
Yeah, and it mentions both their names.
right. Aaron Dewicki and John Rennick.
But on the application, they're listed as owners.
It has what?
still listed as owners.
Nicely typed. We don't always see that.
If different than applicant, fill in below. Bob, Rob, anything you'd like to add on this one?
Any questions for me?
Any questions as far as board members or anything? The only thing that concerns me is that rear setback where it's close to the,
For conservation purposes,
yeah, it is,
they'll have to get conservation approval, that's totally separate from your.
and that's subject, all
They're their
permits are
own-
subject to
yeah,
that.
They're their own governing authority. If they don't meet conservation, conservation can attach them a violation and things along those lines.
Okay, well then I have a motion and a second to accept petition number 919 as presented. I'll call for voice vote, Kasia?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Bob?
Yes.
And Dan? 5-0, passes.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Alana will give you the rundown, you gotta go down and do all that paperwork, 20 days appeal, all that fun stuff.
Sounds good. Yeah, thank you all. Thanks for the time.
Didn't even hurt, huh?
Pardon?
It didn't even hurt, huh?
That's right. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, great, thank you so much.
We have copies of all that in the file, right? Alana, we have everything in the file, everything's complete in the file? All right, if we could sign that, we're good. Rob, thank you so very much.
Okay, have a good night, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's do some minutes. Now that Bert's retired, guess what Bert did today?
What happened?
Now that Bert's retired,
Oh, yeah?
guess what Bert did
What did you
today?
do?
Played golf. 62
70
degrees.
Yeah, unbelievable.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's nice. I was in meetings from 8 o'clock until 4, so I did not golf today.
The last meeting was so much.
I had said, she said the 20th and 24th, I was gonna be able to do the 20th.
No,
That's what-
that's what Barbara said you got, you were probably on vacation.
Yeah.
So, if you were away and everything, your house was probably the only one that didn't have a burning cross in front of it when you got home, right?
I did not, which was nice. Oh, God.
As we go.
Yeah, that had to be terrible, right? I saw her on Facebook.
Today's?
Oh, no, I didn't see today's.
Oh, yeah, oh, you gotta see today's.
Oh, for God's sakes.
Yep.
There's been like 2 or 3 in the last week.
Certainly has. Hey, let's do some minutes. Let's do approval and signatures on January 13th.
Outstanding.
I read through that one quick. I didn't see any changes, deletions, additions, or,
Oh, man.
well, especially when I'm gonna hold on to this one. It's good. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes of Monday, January 13th, 2020?
Motion to accept the minutes of Monday, January 13th, 2020.
And do I have a second?
Second.
The motion on the floor to accept the minutes of Monday, January 13th, 2020. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Signed.
Is he retiring?
That's how
Must
I
be
roll.
nice.
Do we need everybody or just
Just whatever Alana wants.
What?
I said whatever Alana wants.
Well, my list.
on the minutes, you need everybody or just 3?
Whoever close here, so. I think 3 or more.
Okay, next, the minutes of February 10th, 2020. Any changes, deletions, or corrections? Thank you. Yikes. Oh yeah, I remember that one. Do I have a motion regarding the minutes of February 10th, 2020?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of February 10th, 2001.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, and certainly, last but not least, February 20th, 2020, Thursday. The minutes of the Halifax Zoning Board of Appeals. This is the one we did in the Selectmen's meeting room at the Town Hall.
Sorry about that. Yeah, this is, I think I picked a good one that time.
You picked a real
And
good
it's
one.
done, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it finished?
I believe so.
Well, for now.
Well, yeah, as we speak.
Oh, no. They will never die, yeah.
All right, I'll accept a motion regarding the minutes of Thursday, February 20th, 2020, the Halifax Zoning Board of Appeals.
Make a motion to accept the meeting minutes of Thursday, February 20th, 2020.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to accept the minutes of Thursday, February 20th, 2020. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Passes. All right, what else do we have? Appointments, correspondence. Letter from John Peck, Country Club Estates, 40B. Oh, what do we have for bills right here?
There's a lot of,
Yeah, why don't you take a couple, I'll throw a couple this way. Okay, you can take that one.
Oh, he's sending the money out this time, huh?
Well, Alana needed a new car.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Pass it to Bill. Oh, Lord.
Done. Concept comprehensive permit. Well, why don't we read the letter from John Peck and let's get things off and running.
There you go. You can have
Yeah, you're
that.
gonna get paid for this, yeah.
Dollar bills.
Okay, the first one on our correspondence is a letter from John Peck, Country Club Estates, 40B comprehensive permit application submittal and request for representative. Dear Chairman Gaynor, I, John Peck, manager of R&J LLC, will be submitting an application for a comprehensive permit for a 40B development being proposed off of Plymouth Street to be known as Country Club Estates in the coming weeks for review. As it is stated in the Halifax Zoning Board of Appeals Rules and Regulations for Comprehensive Permit, this letter is required to be presented prior to any appearance before the board. I am informing the board that my intention is to have appointed representation act on my behalf throughout the permit process. I am designating the following people: Paul Cusson, Delphic Associates LLC, 40B Consulting and Permitting; Larry Silva, Silva Engineering Associates, PC, Professional Engineer; Rebecca Batista, Silva Engineering Associates, PC, lead civil engineer. All of these representatives have been involved with 40B developments for many years, with expertise in guidelines and procedures of a successful permitting throughout many South Coast towns. I hereby state that the above request for a designated representative is to be accepted as my letter of assignment to the Halifax Zoning Board of Appeals for a designated representative. Sincerely, John Peck, R&J LLC, Managing Member. Done. Okay, what else do we have for correspondence here? It's the old Colony Planning Council agenda. The agenda for meeting 563 would be submitted. There's also an agenda for February 26, 2020. And those can be reviewed by anyone, members of the board that they so wish. Town of Plimpton, Mass. Office of Town Clerk, notice of hearing. Posted in accordance with provisions of the Town of Plimpton Municipal Bylaw, Zoning Board of Appeals. Townhouse, large conference room. Tuesday, the agenda attached. The Plimpton Zoning Board of Appeals will meet 6 p.m. on Tuesday, February 18th, 2020 at the Townhouse, 5 Palmer Road, Plimpton, on the application case number 20-0122 filed by Rebecca Wilson for a parcel on 108 West Street, map 11, block 2, lot 1. Miss Wilson is applying for a special permit for a hobby kennel. All interested members of the public are invited. A copy of the Zoning Board of Appeals application is available in review in the town clerk's office, 21820, a little 21820, same thing. Okay, this is for a special permit from the town of Plimpton. Also, the Plimpton Zoning Board of Appeals will meet 6:30 p.m. Tuesday, February 18th at the Townhouse, 5 Palmer Road, Plimpton, on an application case number 20-0121 filed by Jennifer Haju for a parcel on 57 Cross Street, map 16, block 3, lot 10. Ms. Haju is applying for a special permit for a hobby kennel. All interested members of the public are invited to attend. Halifax Zoning Board of Appeals. From the Planning Board to the Town Clerk, Building Inspector, Highway Surveyor, Board of Selectmen, Water Department, Highway Department, Assessor's Office, Fire, Planning Board, February 10th, 2020, Site Plan Review. Please see the attached Site Plan Review application, which was submitted to the Planning Board office on February 7th, 2020. The plan is to change existing buildings on a slab to a smaller canopy with downlight. Please review the new plans and return your opinions or concerns as soon as possible. The Planning Board will be meeting again on March 20th and March 5th regarding this matter. Well, we missed both of them. Sincerely, the Planning Board. And Office of Conservation Commission, February 18th, 2020. Notice is hereby given of a public hearing conducted by the Halifax Conservation Commission under the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, Wetlands Protection Act, and Chapter 164 of the Town of Halifax, Halifax Wetlands Protection Bylaw on Tuesday, March 10th, 2020 at 7:05 p.m. in meeting number 1, second floor, Halifax Town Hall, to consider the notice of intent filed on February 11th, 2020 by Orwig Associates, Duxbury, Mass, on behalf of the applicant, Erin M. DeWicki and John A. Rennick, owners of 20 Baker Street, Halifax, Mass, in reference to a request to build an 18 by 18 two-story addition to the existing dwelling located at 20 Baker Street, Halifax, Mass, within 50 feet of bordering vegetation, wetlands, eastbound Quonset Pond. Assessors map 42, parcel/lot 75. Bingo, that's our correspondence. All right, here is our Country Club Estates. Has everybody had time to read it over and have it memorized? Okay, maybe not. Robert Gaynor, Chair, Halifax Zoning Board of Appeals, subject Country Club Estates, comprehensive permit. Dear Mr. Gaynor, in response to Ms. Quessel's request, we are pleased to submit our proposed scope of services and fee estimate for review of the comprehensive permit application materials for the subject development. Our scope of services include the following: perform a detailed technical review of a comprehensive permit application, materials for conformance with the following regulations, bylaws, code of the town of Halifax, DHCD comprehensive permit regulations, 760 CMRs, Mass DEP stormwater management standards. Number 2, provide comments and recommendations with respect to the following: completeness and adequacy of submitted plans, details, specifications, and eventual construction documents. B, site access, parking, vehicular and pedestrian circulation, grading and utilities, stormwater management, design calculations and operations of maintenance plans, and E, listing of requested exemptions/waivers. 3, prepare a written summary report without comment and submit the report to the Zoning Board of Appeals. 4, attendance at 2 public hearings for the project. Attaches a breakdown of actual tasks, estimated hours, and costs for each task. We will begin work immediately upon your notice to proceed. All right. Any comments, suggestions?
This is 5 hours worth of,
What's that?
it's 2 meetings, easy peasy.
Sure, we got this.
Easy peasy lemon
We
squeeze,
got
5
this.
hours. Yeah,
Two
done.
meetings?
That's what they put in, 2 meetings of, a total of 5 hours.
Well, I'm not gonna sit here certainly and read all of this.
Yeah,
You guys
it's
can
fun.
peruse through this, and I do know Amy had submitted a couple, Amy Questle, land attorney, submitted a couple of names to help us, with the process and whatnot. So this has to go out. I'd certainly like to meet with them. I understand we have approximately 5 months to review and make our decisions one way or the other. Any opening comments or anything like that? I did
Did
sit.
we go
What's it?
once with this, with the Franklin Street one? Did they wanna do a comprehensive?
We did have one, but I don't know if it was the same one, was it?
No, it was on Franklin Street,
Franklin
wasn't it?
Street,
Yes,
What's the name?
Blackledge,
yeah.
yes.
That went for a while.
Yes,
And then didn't they yank it?
Huh?
They pulled it, they were through it.
yeah.
They pulled it, yeah.
In just a brief discussion, just my own personal opinion, I think this project here, I believe, I haven't read it or confirmed it, but this pretty close to 2, if not 30 units. These units, development, is gonna be in the center of town. Right at the set of lights, across from all seasons. It's my own personal opinion. I think the last I looked, there was some 19, maybe 20,000 daily average car count that goes through the center of Halifax down 106. I am concerned what this is gonna look like. Okay, aesthetically, the original plans that I did look at here called for shingle frontages with big garage doors. There's some 4-unit buildings, there's some 2-unit buildings. But that's just an overall, without certainly having delved into the application process, but that is a concern of mine. I do really care what this is gonna look like in the center of our town. It's my own personal opinion,
We
that's
lose a
all.
lot of control with the 40B.
Well, it's been my experience over the years that the builders have worked with us in the past, starting anywhere from, not specifically 40Bs, for Walmart, for example, with the facade in the front and the dormers, and other builders and whatnot have provided or changed the character of the outside to clapboards instead of shingles, and I just wanted to look nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be a permanent fixture in the town, that everyone's
No
gonna see.
question. It was brought to my attention too that it is gonna be set almost 300 feet back. Granted, it's not sitting right on 106, But everybody's gonna drive through town to see this, you know.
It's gonna be, yeah. It's gonna be a big change.
Some of them are, I mean, some of the pictures there.
Is that gonna be sitting on two separate parcels of land or just one parcel of land?
I really don't know. I've not gone into it any
The
more.
last time he had to get, because it was only on the 4 acres that
Yeah.
was.
Right? Didn't you have the, was it
This is
16?
on less than 4, I think.
No.
This,
3 point something, I think.
this one here?
I might be
Doesn't
misspeaking.
look good.
And I was also, I haven't checked or gone through to verify, but I was also in preliminary
5.43.
5.43. And what was it before?
It's not a couple of people. I think that was the same. Wasn't that the same? Was 5 acres? See what?
I was told that the septic system is gonna be on the country
That was
club.
gonna be the country club estates. That was gonna
Septic
be
easement,
16
yeah.
acres.
Yeah, it's gonna be, there's a, like a ditch that goes by, then it's gonna be behind that ditch.
Don't they have to list all the variances that they're requesting?
Yes. Yes.
This has to have 10 acres, right?
It's gonna be.
Because I don't think that- I don't think that was
40B,
listed.
That goes all that, it's not our densities anymore.
This
a
is-
state-
But you-
state
This is
requirement.
permanent.
No,
But
no,
you still
no.
have to list the variances.
Exactly. It is our density requirements. They have to apply for variances and whatnot. Special permits.
Yeah, I mean, it's whether or not we approve all those special permits and
Exactly.
variances, and then they can just go to wherever, go to some.
And because it's a 40B project, they're looking for relief on this particular issue, this one, this one, and this one. But nevertheless, I
Right,
think it starts out that way.
that's out that way, but. the
That's
end-
how I view
The
it.
end result is different.
Yes.
Yeah, around for a year.
It was pointed out to me that there's also an issue with the road coming in, that there's only, it doesn't meet, when it was subdivided, I have to look it up, I don't have it in front of me right
It
now, but there's only
encroaches on the building.
25 feet on the building, not 30 feet.
And it was also, I think there was an issue, if I recall, on the last application, which I don't know if it's been addressed or not. Something we have to, look into was the turning radius for the
Yeah, this is tight.
ambulance, fire, and that stuff. That now whether that's been changed and dealt with, I haven't read that yet.
This probably be the first one we've ever, with Franklin Street, that just failed out. But this one here, they probably pushing for it.
What are you talking about? The rules are. Okay.
When's our
Do
first
you,
meeting?
I'm sorry.
When's our first meeting?
When is our first one on
March
this?
18th, so next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday?
Got
Is
a lot
that
of
our
studying to
meeting
do.
or is it somebody else? That's ours?
Wah, wah.
All right, does Amy need notification from our board to proceed with this here?
Let me see, I don't think so.
It says attachment is a breakdown, attached is a breakdown of the actual task, estimated hours, cost for each task. We will begin work immediately upon your notice to proceed. Why don't we send a memo or letter off to Charlie and Amy Questle if they need a document?
She said that she suggests you vote to accept the proposal on the 18th.
Do it on the 18th?
That's what she said.
Let's do that.
Do what, anything? Huh?
We, actually, our first meeting on the 18th, we'll officially say, yes, we're gonna go with this or
Or not?
not.
The first meeting?
At the open vote hearing.
What is it, the 18th, what time?
7.
That's the only one.
Are we going, I think we were starting in the selectman's office and then if we have to, move upstairs.
I think we should be fine down there, but yeah.
Famous last words, I'm gonna quote her.
There's been a lot of chitter chatter. I'm just throwing that out there. A lot of people with some opinions. Who knows if they show
I
up?
know.
Okay,
Alrighty.
can't wait.
What else do we got?
Oh, boy. Okay, I've got nothing else. Anybody else got anything else? What is this, dear Mr. Rodriguez? It's-
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion